Hi, good evening everyone. Ramadan Mubarak. I hope you are all safe. Thank you for joining us in this webinar. My name is Anas Ubaidat. I'm a solutions manager at gistec. In today's webinar, we will talk about the operations dashboard for ArcGIS design strategies and tips. This is not a technical presentation. It's more about sharing the best practices, recommendations, and tips when you design your operations dashboard using the operations dashboard for ArcGIS product. So let's get started. So in this presentation, we will cover the following topics. Here we will start with the product overview. We will talk about the operations dashboard in general. Then we will talk about the dashboard layout and elements. Then we will talk about the widgets, the various widgets we have in the operations dashboard. We will talk about the colors and why we need to focus on having good color and look and feel when we design our dashboard. Then we will talk about the dashboard interactivity and how we can create a mobile dashboard using the operations dashboard for ArcGIS. So we will start with the product overview here. So as you know, maybe the operations dashboard for ArcGIS is a very powerful product designed by Esri to monitor assets, events, or activities to to be able to take a decision at a glance. It provides a key insight to your data on a single screen. It includes many data visualization elements, and it's offering a fully configurable user experience. You should not be a developer to create a dashboard application using the operations dashboard for ArcGIS. It's a web browser-based application, so you just have to have Google Chrome, any web browser to explore the dashboard using a desktop, tablet, or a mobile phone. So you can create a version of your dashboard to be explored and accessed through a smartphone. It's an integrated solution with ArcGIS Online, and it's available for ArcGIS Enterprise users starting from 10.6. Now, the news about the operations dashboard for ArcGIS is the new name. Actually, Esri announced a new name for the operations dashboard for ArcGIS. Now, especially the ArcGIS Online users, they can see now the something called ArcGIS Dashboards in their ArcGIS Online applications list. So if you see this is the new name of the operations dashboard, and there is a blog about this new announcement from Esri. They are introducing ArcGIS Dashboards with the ArcGIS Online, and it will come with the ArcGIS Enterprise very soon. I'm sharing this blog in this presentation, one part of the useful links slide at the end of this presentation. So this is something new about the operations dashboard product, and this is very important here to mention that in this presentation we will talk only about the operations dashboard for ArcGIS product. So if you have built your the dashboard using the web app builder or ArcGIS Insight or another way using Esri technology, then we are here just focusing on designing tips and strategies for this specific product, which is the operations dashboard for ArcGIS. So let's start with the patterns of use for the operations dashboard. Actually, the operations dashboard is, there are like three main, let's say, patterns of use for the operations dashboard. The first one, which is the operational dashboard, which is mainly for the operations team, the people who are visiting the site, they are getting data from the site, they are doing surveys. So it's more about having a map with a daily update, tracking for the team, It's important, very important for the operations department. It has a lot of details about the visits, maybe the coverage areas, the surveys, the completed maybe surveys, etc. So this we call it the operational dashboard. This is the first level of the or the pattern of use for the dashboard. The second one, which is the tactical dashboard, which is mainly designed for the managers and the analysts. It's to analyze, to do some actions based on the data received from this dashboard. You have less maybe information in this kind of dashboard because it's mainly focused for managers and the people who wants to compare maybe data between quarter one and quarter two to a period of time. The people who wants to compare, for example, who want to compare two areas with each other, for example. So it's more about to analyze the data, to see the data, do some analysis on this dashboard. The last use is the strategic dashboard, which is mainly for executives. Here we are talking about very less interactive or options in this dashboard. It's mainly to summarize the data, show the most important KPIs and let's say the most important KPIs and factors, maybe revenue, maybe number of employees, some big factors and big numbers, and which will be finally, which will support finally the executives to take decision, and it will help them finally to know all information from one single screen. So these are the main patterns of use for the operations dashboard. There is, as you can see in the left side here, this is the functionality comparing with maybe the department or the type of the person who will use this kind of dashboard. Again, this is not a technical present. This is not, there is no option here to select what kind of dashboard you will build. Here we are talking mainly about the when you start designing or thinking of having or creating the dashboard, you have to think about the users or what kind of dashboard I will design. You might have a lot of data integration, data from maybe ERP system, CRM system, GIS data, etc. So when you design your dashboard, you have to consider all these kind of data. Plus, you have to consider the users. Okay. So before you start designing the dashboard, think about how many maps I want to add, what kind of widgets I want to add to this dashboard. Okay, so finally it will help those people to take the right decision at the right time. So plus there is one more actually use, which is the informational here. It's not, it's less formal, it's mostly for the GIS people or the people who want to build the dashboards for less number of people actually. So it will have like a lot of information, a lot of maps maybe, and a lot of widget series, pie charts, etc. It's a mix actually of all these kind of dashboards. So here we have some examples of the strategic, tactical, and operational dashboard plus the informational. So if you can see the strategic dashboard, even the map here was not added, or it's optional element in this dashboard. So the executive or maybe the CEO or the people who use such kind of dashboard, they will finally just look at the dashboard, see the numbers, the colors maybe, which is very important here to compare the data or see that we are getting more maybe money, or the revenue is increased, the revenue is decreased. They are monitoring some KPIs, and we want to the color to reflect that. If the color is red, means we are entering a very bad situation, etc. So it's more, it's strategic. The map here is, if you can see in this example, it's not available even. There are some filters, if you can see in the left side here, but finally it's giving the right information for the right people. Plus it's showing maybe how maybe the number of cases or the number of Imagine this is for COVID, for example. So you can build the dashboard comparing the data between today and yesterday, this week and last week, this month and last month. Okay, and another chart will show, for example, the number of cases on daily basis. This is for more of a strategic dashboard. It will just give you the summary in one, look. The tactical or analytical dashboard, another type, which you can see here, it's more about having, doing analysis on this dashboard. So if you can see, we have more than maybe 6-7 widgets. The map is maybe simple, it's having the points only, but finally it was designed to do analysis, just to compare. Maybe if you can see here, we have the series chart is showing more than one series or more than one KPI. Means I'm comparing between maybe between quarter 1 and quarter 2. I'm doing analysis here. The operational here, the third example is, as I mentioned, it's more about the operation team. Imagine the green area here is covered by X team. The yellow is handled by Y team. The red color here is having a lot of issues or a lot of cases. Okay, so it's more about the operations. The people are visiting the field. Our team is visiting the field. They are getting data. The map is helping me to understand what's covered, what's not covered. How long do I need to cover the whole area? If I'm running a survey and I want to monitor the survey in one area, so that this kind of dashboard will help me to monitor the status on daily basis, a weekly basis, or monthly basis. Now the information, the last example, if you can see, we have two maps. We have a pie chart. We have a pie chart here. We have another two more widgets. So it's more about user requirement. One user needs such kind of dashboard. It's not for like various kind of various number of people. It's more about maybe testing, exploring, and maybe sharing with X person only. Okay, so these are the various patterns of use examples for the operations dashboard. Now let's talk about the challenges when you design your operations dashboard. Actually, the most important part when you design your dashboard is how you will communicate and share data in an effective manner. As you know, the operations dashboard is very powerful product. So you can present the data on a map, you can build series chart, you can build pie chart, you can have interactive dashboard or summary dashboard, etc. But what's important here? The most important thing is how you will have the data updated or synced with your dashboard, maybe in daily basis or in real time. So it's very important when you design your dashboard is to think about, okay, how can I get the data from my CRM system maybe? Or how can I get the data from my Survey 123? How can I update this dashboard and build a process to sync the data with this dashboard? So this is very important factor to think about and build the right process to get the data updated in this dashboard. Otherwise, it will be static dashboard for one time only. After 1 week or 1 month, it will be useless. Nobody will use it because it's outdated. The data is not reflecting the right numbers. So the data should be shared, synced, let's say, with the operations dashboard in daily basis or a predefined, let's say, period of time. Another thing to be considered, or another challenge here, is the functionality versus the usability. As you know, I can add a lot of functions or options in my operations dashboard, but finally, who will use this kind of filters? Who will use this kind of widgets? If the most important thing is I have to balance between the functionalities required in this dashboard and the usability of the dashboard. So if I want only a map with 2 or 3 widgets that summarize the number of assets in my GIS data, that's excellent for me. I don't want to interact with the dashboard, for example. So I don't need any filter. I don't want any drop-down list, or I don't want to interact with this dashboard. So once I balance or make sure that I am getting all the required functionalities, plus comparing it with the usability of this dashboard, this is another challenge. I have to find a solution for this one by meeting maybe the business team, getting all requirements, try to find the best way to represent the data, and we will explore many examples here and see some alternative solutions for common issues. Now, another thing here is the user experience and user interface and user experience. This is very important actually, because maybe you will design a very powerful dashboard, but finally you will add maybe 20 widgets to it or 4 maps. Okay, so the user experience and the interface of this dashboard will not encourage the people to use it. So whenever you design your dashboard, please try to sit with a designer, if you have a designer in your organization, to help you design the dashboard, make it simple, select the right colors, the right layout, elements, etc. So tomorrow you will have the best user experience while exploring your operations dashboard. And finally, we have to consider the end user's technical level, which is very important actually. So as you know, the operations dashboard is very powerful product that will be used maybe by non-GIS people. So there may be decision makers, CEOs, managers, etc. So they are not mainly GIS people. They don't know maybe what's feature classes, but finally they want to have a summary of their data. They want to get benefit out of this dashboard. So when you design the dashboard, don't create, for example, a tool on it, or don't add a selection tool on it just to let them explore this functionality. It's not required maybe for them. The technical level means here, if I am as executive, means I will just see the important information, the summary, the statistics, the KPIs, and that's it. I will not even interact with this dashboard. And this will be after maybe some meetings or getting the exact requirement of the business user, so I can build the dashboard with the right tools and functionalities considering the technical level of the users. Now, the most important part to start with when you design your dashboard is to start with the web map. As you know, we design or we create the dashboard from starting from the web map. So whenever you have good web map with right map, with good symbology, good label, good base map, having proper, let's say, scale, transparency, then you can get added to the dashboard and start creating your widgets and elements in it. So you have to focus on the most important data when you add the web map. Maybe in the web map you have maybe 15 layers, okay, but these 15 layers are not important for my dashboard. The statistic and KPIs will come from 2 layers maybe. So the rest of layers are not required. Okay, so I can reduce the number of layers in this dashboard and keep only the most important layers and information. So, for example, if I am a utility company, I have transformers and I have cable tranches and I have the network for HV, MV, and LV. Maybe it's not important to add the network if I am studying only the billing information. If I build the dashboard to summarize the billing statistics, billing information, creating a heat map and dashboard, maybe the network itself as a cables and infrastructure is not required in my dashboard. So I don't want to add it to the map. This is the most important thing. So I have to think about the layers and what's important in my dashboard. Then I have to style my layers to convey meaning. I play with the colors. I make sure that if I have cars or I'm tracking people, then I have good symbology, good symbols. If you have, for example, utilities, you select a proper symbology for your network based on the gallery available in ArcGIS Online, or you can design your own symbology and use it in this dashboard. So you have to style it in good way to have the best let's say look and feel when you look at the map. and you can select the best map that helps you to highlight the data. As you know, if you are using ArcGIS Online, there are a lot of maps can be used as a base map for your dashboard. Plus, if there is any entity having their own base map, it can be added to the dashboard here. So the base map is something very important when you talk about the dashboard. Maybe imagery is not required. So why do I need to add the imagery as a base map if I need only to focus on the street network, for example? So one more thing, which is the pop-up. If you can see here in the right, we have a pop-up here showing some information about this point and image. This is something very useful for the executive and the managers. They don't want to see the attributes table, maybe shape length, object ID, and the rest of information for the which is the GIS, let's say, data, the attributes. So we can design this pop-up. So when the executive or the manager or the user click on this point, he can see good information, useful information. Imagine I have a damage in X pipeline. So imagine if I have here the date of the damage, I have the image, some images, and who did this, or who solved this, or who fixed it. So this is very useful information about the damages, and so on. So you can think about everything. The users, you can add the image of the user, the information about him, and the status, his status. So the pop-up is very important thing. Then we are talking about symbology here. Label is very important. The pop-up itself, and designing the map with its layers. So this is very important. These are very important considerations to consider when you design with the web map. Now we will talk now about the layout itself of the dashboard. The goal of the dashboard is not to see how many different ways you can display your data. Finally, we need to have a simple dashboard. We need to keep it simple. This is the objective. Today I'm gonna repeat this many times actually. We need to have very simple dashboard that everyone will use it. Everyone will be encouraged to open it and see the data in this dashboard, not like having a very complex dashboard, a lot of information, not even important for the users. This is an example. So if I can, if you can offer for the users this, then why you will design this one? So this is just an example of, you have to think about it. You see, imagine this is a dashboard with a lot of widgets, maps, and information here, while you can create map, one widget, and one summary, for example, or one list. So you have to design or think about this here in the left, in the right, not building or adding all kinds of information to your dashboard. Again, the flexibility versus usability here. So for example, I have an example here of a remote control. So if you can see here on the right, this is, the flexibility is very high in this. You can select maybe do a lot of things in this one, but this one here is usable for me. So if I want just to switch between the channels, so the visibility, the flexibility increases here when you go right. The same thing for the operations dashboard. For example, I have this dashboard here in the left. So in this dashboard, I am just focusing on two series chart and the map. Maybe this is enough for me as a decision maker. As a manager, yes, I am very interested in these things, the map and the series chart. I want to compare the number of employees per department and where they are living, for example. That's it. Plus, you can do this and you can do this. Yeah, the product is very powerful. You can design the dashboard the way you want, but finally, please consider the flexibility and the usability. Maybe if you are designing this for executives, maybe they will not open it. They will not be happy to see it every time. You can maybe remove the map and keep all the most important information. Yeah, if it's important, it's okay. But finally, please think about, again, meet the business users and collect the required, the purpose of this dashboard. Finally, we have to have a purpose for the dashboard. And here, I want to highlight one thing, which is how long does it take to make a decision? What do you think? So the decision here, the decision-making time increases with the number of complexity of the choices. Imagine you are offering this dashboard in the right to your users. So it's very difficult for them. It will become very difficult for them to take the decision because you are giving a lot of information. But maybe they want to see one KPI and the map to take the right decision. Imagine you have now coronavirus, and the people or the manager, the decision maker want to take a decision to close one area. So maybe the number of cases plus a thematic map showing the colors, the number of people in these cases in these communities will be enough for them to take the decision, showing maybe the ages, showing the nationalities, showing other things are maybe optional. Finally, to take the decision, you have maybe to see the cases plus thematic map and the final number. So this is just an example of how you can simplify the process or make it simple to the decision maker to take the right decision when he enter your operations dashboard. Now, the dashboard layout itself, there is a general guideline. I said before, keep it simple. We need to keep it simple as much as we can. How then we need to think about the following. How will the dashboard will be used? It will be interactive dashboard, summary dashboard. It will be, for example, what questions does it answer? What kind of answers they are looking for, the decision maker, the users. What kind of question? They want ages, they want the summary, they want some, they want what exactly? They want to just monitor the status, they want just to monitor, or they want to interactive dashboard. Maybe we have a control room and we don't want anyone to interact with the dashboard. We want to show the number of cases. We want to show, for example, a map, points, and we want to make it, live dashboard. In this case, we call it, yes, we are designing it just to monitor and summarize the data. We are not doing any, we are not offering any options to interact with it in this case. We are not giving any option to filter the map, etc. So it's optional. We have to think and consider these things. What will be? It will be embedded in a web another web application, or it's a separate application or standalone application will be accessed by everyone. So imagine you have ArcGIS enterprise sites or hub or the organization website. Tomorrow you can build the dashboard and add it to the main page, add it to this to your web page. So this is something very important to think about it. Also, which is very important, the mobile view. Do we need to have a mobile view, or we just need to have a desktop view? So mobile also options is available. So we need to think about it and consider it. Okay, we will go to the mobile part, the embedded part in this presentation, but these are very important questions to be asked to the business users before we start designing the dashboard. Now the layout also, here we need to, as we said, we need to get the user's requirement, the business user requirements. We need to consider their technical level. We need to have appropriate widget, because X data can be represented in many ways. You can just show it on the map. You can show it on the map plus build a series chart. You can show it on the map plus build a pie chart. You can show, add it to the map, or you can just build a chart without adding any points to the map itself. So here you have to think about what kind of widget or element I have to select. Series, by indicator, list, etc. So X data can be represented in dashboard in maybe 4 or 5 ways. So you have to select the right and best way to represent it in your dashboard. You have to provide clear information. For example, if you are providing list, so with, for example, list of incident with the incident ID, you have to think about more information or clear information for the user. So you can provide a list with incident ID, call date or call time, incident type, category, image, maybe, etc. So if this is something very important to be provided, clear information. You have to use good color to focus on certain data. The color is very important, and we will talk about it in this presentation. Now we have few examples here to be explored. See, this is some, let's say, examples with suggestions, let's say, not with recommendations, not bad examples. This is one of the dashboards. There are some enhancement can be added here to this dashboard to make it let's say more useful, or redesign it in a way that the users will feel that they will be maybe encouraged to open this dashboard. Let's see, look here at the label. See the labels of each and every widget here. It's not the same. We are not using the same color. We are not using the same size. We are not using maybe sometimes there is no even label for some widgets. The y-axis here in this chart having the full name of the categories, which is maybe not required to be added to this chart. Maybe you can filter it and keep only 6-7 categories. The map itself, the map should be very, at least big, so we can think about removing the series chart, replace it with the map itself, and make the map and having good labels for all these widgets. Okay, so this is one of the examples. Another example here, if you can see this dashboard, so maybe the operations dashboard users will think that this is maybe a new type of series chart. No, this is not a series chart. This is it's an image. It was uploaded by the user here, and it's static. The user here in this case did not use the widget which is available in the operations dashboard, which is not recommended actually, because it will be static widget. We can instead replace it with the charts available in the operations dashboard. The titles here are not clear. The symbology on the map, it's not clear even. Sometimes it's triangle. There are, it's not clear. We don't have even a legend here for the map. The colors here are not the same for these widgets. So please, when you design the dashboard, you think about all these things, because it's the look and feel of your dashboard is very important for the users. Another example here, we have a lot of maps. All these maps can be replaced with one map only, with the layer list. So whenever any user wants this map, he can select, or this layer, he can select it from the layer list. So instead of having 5 maps, I can have one map only with 4 or 5 layers, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, then the series chart here, it's not clear at all. It will not help anyone to take a decision. One more thing which is very important, we don't have legend for this map. It's a thematic map. We have like 3-4 colors here, but we don't know what this color means. It doesn't give you any indication about this map. So this is also can be improved, this kind of dashboard. Now let's talk about some good dashboard now. Maybe this dashboard, most of you, saw this dashboard in this situation. Again, I hope you are all safe. This is the John Hopkins University dashboard. It's a very good example of this dashboard. It's showing the total confirmed cases. It's showing the countries. It's just having a cluster, or these circles you see, it represents the number of cases in each country, the number of cases in each and every country, and that's it. It was even more simple, more than this one. The global this list here, it was not in this way. They added it. It's very useful also. So this example is very good example of having one operations dashboard. Very good information. If you want more information, if you can see here the mouse, they added some more tabs or let's say options to explore the active cases, incidence rate, etc. So you can select the needed map or statistics and access it. But by default, this is a good application to build your application based on it. The date and time is highlighted here also. See the color also, it's the same. We have red and black, white, that's it. We don't have that much colors. Plus here we have another color for the series chart. But you feel that, yeah, it's good. You can understand everything. Okay, another good example here. We have good number of widgets, but finally you can understand everything. You can understand the map. You can understand the legend. From the legend, you can see that the colors is clear, so the legend is good. The logo is available also for the organization. The symbols are good. The labels are available, and you have good number of charts. Another example here. You see imagine that the color here is good also. The first impression or the look and feel of this dashboard is let you use it. Again, the number of widgets, it's up to the users or the organization. You can add many widgets, but finally, if it's required, yes. If not, then we need to try to reduce as much as we can. So we need to consider the end user perspective. So maybe you are designing your dashboard in this way, and you think that the dashboard will be used in this way, but actually everyone is using the dashboard in this way. They have a shortcut actually. They don't use most of the widgets you are adding to your dashboard. They use this way and that's it. They enter the dashboard, they look at one widget and they close it. Okay, so you have at least to think about what's exactly needed in your dashboard. Again, if you want to add or have multiple widgets or multiple dashboards, you can use story map here. Story map will help you to have multiple dashboards in one single screen. So you can access here this application, plus you can go to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 dashboard applications or another application, GIS applications. So it will help you to have one single screen for multiple dashboards or multiple information if it's required. Another option is to use a stack embedded content element, which is where you can have multiple dashboards in the dashboard itself. So if you can see here, we have multiple tabs, maybe 10 tabs. Every tab here is representing a dashboard. So for example, see, these 3 dashboards are part of one single dashboard. But when you enter, by default, you see this dashboard. You can flip to this, etc. You can use whatever you need. Now we will talk about the dashboard elements available with the Operations Dashboard for ArcGIS. We have many data visualization options. If you are familiar with Operations Dashboard, so you might see this before. This is the list of the elements or widgets available with the Operations Dashboard. You have header, side panel, map, etc. So you have to think about what's required here. Does the dashboard need to have all of these elements? Yeah, mostly no. We might need 1, 2, 4, 5, etc. But all, this is very rare to see a dashboard having all these kind of dashboards or these kind of widgets here. So these elements, we have to think about what has to be selected here. And we have to think about, the following. We need to design it for the audience. We need to think about the display environment. Again, here, mobile, desktop, or tablet, maybe. We should have a purpose for this dashboard. What's the purpose of the dashboard? Do I need to monitor a survey, status, daily reports, or what? So the purpose of the dashboard is very important. We have to ensure that the elements info are readable. That people can read the information in these elements. And less is more, actually. We need to have less widgets as much as we can. Now the charts, as you know, we have pie chart and series chart. We can select the chart that we think or we believe that it is having or it's representing our data better, pie chart or series chart. In pie chart, we can use the donut style if you use it. So see this kind of pie chart, and this is the donut chart, the donut style. This is better actually, and it's giving good let's say feeling for the people who are looking for this kind of pie chart. Or we can maybe use a bar chart instead, as I said before. So X data can be represented in many ways. So you can build the pie chart, series chart, or you can maybe represent it only on the map. So this pie chart can be replaced with the bar chart. We need to limit also the categories to 6 only. This is the recommendation. Again, there is no limitation in the product itself. But it's recommended to have 6 categories in the pie chart only, or less than 6 categories. We have some examples here about the pie chart. So we have if you can see here, we have this kind of pie chart having a lot of types. Maybe it's not required. We can use something called a group, where we can group the small amounts here to one type and keep the high, let's say, values only. Here also another example. Yeah, we don't have, when we can group all these pie chart together instead of having the three. One here we have 3 grouped together, one alone, and here we have multiple, maybe 3 or 4. So we can group these pie chart together. Here again, the number of categories is, we don't, have we can limit it to 6 categories or low, or even replace it. We can replace it maybe with a series chart, something similar to this. Even this is we can improve it. We can maybe limit the number of categories here to 2 or 3, or work on the data, design the data, build a process in our data to have a summary of these kind of data represented in this dashboard. So the data will be represented in one series chart instead of having this. Plus, we don't have legend here. We don't know what this chart means. What is this? What's this? So we can use filter option in Operations Dashboard to filter the data, the input for this specific widget, and keep only one type. Some good examples. See, we have a lot of we have, for example, in the first example here, 3 kind of or 4 even categories. Okay, so for example, olives, etc. So we are representing it in very good way, so the people or the users can understand it. Plus, we are adding here a limit, or let's say average value. It's up to you. You can add whatever you want here as indicator to the people to let them understand what's below and what's higher than X value. Another good example here, we have good color, good representation, labels on the pie charts here. If you see here, we don't have the label. It's not used, but here it's used. So these are some techniques or tips. You can use it. You have to think about it. Do I need something like this, or I can use only one chart like this? This one also can be represented in another way, in this way. For example, like this way. It can be represented in this way instead of having a bar. You can replace it with a series, points, every hour, for example, or every day, etc. So this is another good example of having multiple series charts. See the link, or how you can understand how the colors is reflecting, or the map colors is reflected on the series chart itself, which is something will help the decision maker to understand what every series chart is representing. So we have multiple series chart, but finally I can take the decision. I can understand it. The colors, the legend here for every series chart is added. The map is representing, the colors are reflected on each and every series chart, which will help the user to understand the series chart. Now we'll move to the indicator. Indicator also it's another good element actually, and powerful element. It's a great performance indicator. Can be used for KPIs, summary, etc. So see these various ways. So I can have only number. I can have number with symbol. I can design my own symbol and add it. I can have one indicator with sub indicators. So we have total cases X. Then we have open and closed cases. So you can think about these kind of symbols, even how it will add value. So people will look at the symbol you are adding near to your number, and they can understand what's this representing, how this number is reflecting, how can I play with the color of this number. If the number is increased, for example, then the color can be changed. This is another way. We can use something called format condition here, where if the number, for example, is more than 8, in this case it will be red, and it will be green if it's less than 8. So less than 8 is green, more than 8 is red. This is something very powerful to be used in operations dashboard. So these are some examples. See how these dashboards are representing the data in very good way. So you feel in the left side, the left example here, that the red color is something that maybe it's dangerous, or we are not happy with these numbers. So we can use the dark color to represent, let's say, the bad information or the worst information, and normal color for the rest, maybe summary, etc. Plus here this dashboard is representing some revenue, etc. If the revenue is high, then see the color here is green, the color here is red. This can change dynamically. While the data is updated, the color would be changed automatically. So these are very good examples to be to let you understand how you can design your dashboard. So this number can replace maybe a series chart, or you can create a three, which if you can see we have 3 tabs representing 3 numbers. So these numbers is maybe you can replace a series or pie chart by having one single number here. So every X data can be represented in multiple ways. Please keep this in your mind and think again, how you can represent the data. Maybe simple adding the points on the map is enough for me. I don't want to show any chart. So this is again depends on the user needs and requirements. The list element. The list element is something very important here. It's giving a summary about the data. Imagine you have damages for the pipeline damages example, where I can see the damages location. Plus, I want to see who handled X, who handled Y, who moved to the X incident. So I imagine I have the list of these damages plus this information, the person name or the team name, the time, the priority, etc. So the list can be represented and can give very good indication for the operations type dashboard. For example, here it's showing top 10 calls. Okay, we are even here sorting the data based on the maybe certain priority or the number or the period. So list elements is very important. Plus, the most important thing is what data you are representing here in this list. So maybe I can represent the object ID, which is useless. Nobody will understand anything. And instead of that, you can add the team name, as we said, the duration, the top 10 communities, whatever, top 10 communities or cases, etc. So it will help a lot in case we have operations or a daily update on a dashboard and you want to see top 10 or top 5 categories, and or maybe 10, 20 categories. Here we have the gauge element. It provides it's a good way to represent percentages here. So these are some examples of good example of using this widget, where you can have like a percentage like this way, with the color can be changed also here, as we said. So if it's less than 20%, it's red, more it's orange, then it's yellow, then it's green, etc. So these are some examples of using the gauge indicator. Plus you can have multiple, have some indicators here. As you can see, if it increases, the color will be changed, as you can see here and there. So please think about this. It can be represented in this way, half circle, full circle also, or meter like this. So these are all options available in the operations dashboard product or ArcGIS dashboards, let's say. Here are some examples of the good gauge. So as you can see, half circle. We have the embedded content element here. We can include web pages, videos, and apps in our dashboard. There is one element called embedded content. We can add social media content. We can provide additional context to the dashboard. Plus, the most important thing is you can use the GIS Esri applications like Survey 123. It can be embedded in the dashboard itself. Okay. okay, or the survey 123 data. It can update the dashboard itself. We have the web app builder application where we can create a web app application and using web app builder and embed it to the operations dashboard, which is something I encourage everyone to test it actually. The 3D web scene is very important also, where you can have a 3D buildings, for example, 3D city, 3D assets as a separate tab in your dashboard. So if you have 2D data, it can be there with the dashboard. Plus, you can add the 3D data or representation of your data at the same dashboard. So you can use the embedded content element here to do this, which is something we did with many customers, and they like it. And I encourage everyone here to try all of these embedded content. Why? Because these are all integrated with Esri technology, not like bringing another application designed in using another technology. Maybe no. These three applications here, we are talking about fully integrated applications with the operations dashboard, and it can be added easily and it will work fine with the operations dashboard. Now, regarding the colors here, the most important part regarding the colors here is having the organization theme. So you can represent your dashboard to reflect the organization theme or ID, let's say, and you can attract the people and have attractive look and feel for your dashboard. So this is the most important part in this dashboard, and you can link the widgets color with the map elements, map symbols. So these are three considerations I want to say about the colors, which is number one, linking the map symbology, map colors with the widgets. Number two, having the organization theme or ID, logo, colors, all kinds of colors or organization theme can be reflected in this dashboard, and it will look like it's really something belongs to the organization, and it will attract the people. It will have when you have good look and feel. So see these are examples here of it's examples of some widgets here, series chart, indicators, etc. So light colors for low values and dark colors for high values. As I said, we use same color for same variables between even the widgets, not map and widgets only, even between the widgets itself. So we have some examples here for the colors. Yeah, the colors is good here, but maybe it's strong. So we have strong colors here, right? So these are some, I will share some examples of the colors here, but if you see, even there is no link between the colors in the map and the widgets there. Another example here, you see light color, and it's not attractive for the user. So indicators elements equal some background here equal or similar to the map, which is not recommended actually. It's not related to the map, but it's used by the user here who built it. Okay, and we have here some good examples. Let's see how the colors here is used, how the color here is used, how the color here is used. We have some examples here, good examples of this dashboard with the good colors. See even the map, how the colors on the map is reflecting on the widgets, and the colors here is the same for these indicators. The last maybe subject or two subjects quickly, I will finish the dashboard interactivity. The dashboard interactivity, we need to think about how I want to interact with this dashboard. I have to consider the flexibility and the usability. So if I can design for example, have a filter using the filters options available in the panel side, so this is good. Plus, I can maybe use the filters from the widgets itself. So do I need filters in the panel, the header, or the widget? So I have to take a decision here. So I can't have multiple widgets from I can actually, but it's not recommended to have filter based on the department in the side panel, plus I have filter in the widgets actually itself. So we have to decide and take a decision that I want the filter to be in the header, not in the side panel, for example. The last subject here, which is the mobile dashboard, the only thing about the mobile dashboard is it's recommended to create a version. Once you finish your dashboard and it's done acceptable by everyone, you can create a mobile view. For example, in this example, we have one dashboard here, but we created the 3 views. And if you can see here, tabs, where the first tab will show you the map and the list. The second will show you the indicators. The third one will show you the series chart. So to do this, you can save a copy of your dashboard, and then you design it based on the size of the environment or the application, for example, mobile or tablet. So you save it based on the dimensions of that application, so it will fit in that mobile, and it will be very good. And we tested it; it's very nice. Please, I encourage you to test this feature of this dashboard. This is another example. Finally, I will share with you these some useful links. Actually, we have the ArcGIS Dashboards blog, which is talking about the new name. How did they make that dashboard? This is a link about some examples from Esri. There is something called leverage URL parameters, also mobile dashboard strategies and best practices. All these links are available in this dashboard, and it will be shared. We have 3 quick questions. Please answer these questions about have you used the operations dashboard for GIS, yes or no? Did you create a dashboard for business users, IT, GIS, or maybe for testing or exploring? What do you prefer to use to build your dashboard? Here we have like operations dashboard for ArcGIS, we have web app builder for ArcGIS, and we have others. Maybe you used something else. So please provide your answers in these questions. Plus, I will see what are the questions raised here by the audience. Okay, we have a question here. Can you configure your own map as the base map? Yes, actually the answer is yes. You can create your map, and maybe you can add it to the base map if you want. Plus, you can create your base map and add it to this dashboard. Yes, that's correct. This is feature of the web map itself in ArcGIS portal, not in the operations dashboard. Yes, the answer is yes. This is the question, the first question. Okay, another question: is it possible that multiple users work on same dashboard at the same time? Yes, sure, it's possible. Finally, the dashboard sets a web application. It can be shared with all, let's say, users in the organization. They can use it. If you are asking about the admin here, it's recommended to have one admin who can edit, update the dashboard itself. But finally, the users who will interact and explore the dashboard, yes, you can share it with everyone, and they can use it at the same time. Is it required the new data model or dashboard its own have a capability to revise the data structure? No, actually, the data structure, the data model is part of the data you shared in the portal itself. So you shared the hosted feature service, or you shared the map service from the ArcGIS server. So the structure of the data will be fixed, and the dashboard will read from that one. But there are some options on the fly, like you calculate the sum. If it's not available in the data itself, the average, the count, etc., the dashboard will be able to calculate these values on the fly. So the data structure here, it finally depends on the data structure you used or published in the ArcGIS server, and it will be used in the dashboard. The dashboard should be for continuous data, or it can be for constant period data. It can be both, actually. You can share the data, static data, one-time data only to test or explore the dashboard. It will be static. The data will not be updated. Yeah, this is possible. And it can be live data, updated, synced based on the process you defined behind the scene with the ArcGIS server, or if you have a tool, the Python script tool to update the data, it's possible. So you can have this or that option. Both are possible. Yes, or static or live data is possible to be used in operations dashboard. Are the libraries and widgets available on dashboard more than inside? Actually, the dashboards here is there are widgets. Yeah, not most of the widgets are available here and there in Insight and Dashboard. The Insight is more about having multiple data sources, like you are working on Oracle, you are working in GIS, or you are working on multiple data, and you want to do a drag and drop. Maybe if you use the Insight, you can use pie chart, series chart. Maybe indicator is not there, but most of the widgets available in both applications. But the one which is used to create a copy for your user is the Operations Dashboard. Insight is more for the people who want to do analysis, the people who wants to drag and drop, having multiple data sources. They don't want maybe to do define a process for data integration, so they can drag and drop. In Dashboard, you can't drag and drop. You have to build a process to update the data in your data model or the source to feed the dashboard itself. Kindly distinguish between default and dashboard functionality. Actually, default and dashboard, if I understand this correctly, the dashboard actually is having all the functionalities available in the dashboards. Okay, there is no development here for the dashboards. You can't create something from scratch or develop a tool or widget and add it to the dashboard. All these elements we explored in this presentation is available by default. There is no functionalities or widgets that needs to be developed here. Whatever we talked about here, it's available out of the box for an operations dashboard, and you can use it. You just go to the setting of each widget and you can explore it and use it. Yeah, so we don't have more questions. I will end the polling here for the questions and share the results with you. So we have the following. We have most of the people, 50%. Yeah, we have people used already operations dashboard. And we have good number of people who already created a dashboard for business users, and GIS 33% for business users, 40% maybe for GIS and IT, and for testing 33. Good, it's good. I encourage everyone to test and explore the operations dashboard here. It's very powerful product. And what do you prefer? Yeah, it's good that we have 50% of the audience they like or they prefer the operations dashboard for ArcGIS to build their dashboard. So this is all regarding today's presentation. I would like to thank everyone for joining us in this presentation. Thank you, Ramadan Mubarak again, and stay safe. We will share the presentation and the recording with you very soon. If you want, if you have any questions more, or you can contact us later through the IT marketing channel. Thank you very much.